Wednesday morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and do our stretches. Today we're gonna focus on some twists, okay? So arms up, show me your muscles, and we're gonna twist from our waist. Do some twists and turns today. Very good. Now let's do some turns with our ankles. So we're gonna plant one foot nice and steady and stable. We're gonna lift our other foot and roll those ankles. Roll that ankle. So you have to have good balance. So be nice and steady before you start. If you feel like you're starting to fall over, just put your foot back down, get your balance again, boop, come back up. Now let's switch. So plant your right foot, nice and steady. Arms up. Foot up. I don't know why I said arms up. Foot up, ankle up. Very good. Now, do some circles with our arms, and you can switch and go back the other way. Let's do some twists with our wrist. Take your wrist, and you kind of roll them like this. Do a little twist with your wrists. And what about your head? Can you turn to one side and hold it, and the other? Back to the left. Right, good. Now we are all warmed up. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Brody and Zara. Good morning, Aaliyah. Good morning, Aiden. Good morning, Judah. And good morning, Aaron and Ulysses. Good morning, Nora and Simeon and Lily. Hopefully I never forget anyone when I'm saying good morning to you, but please forgive me if I do, if I ever miss your name. Just forgive me because I'm old and forgetful. So let's do a little bit of calendar work and we'll find out there's something special about today and we'll find out what that is. Okay. So today is Wednesday, April 8th. We know that because yesterday was the 7th. And we know that because last Wednesday was the 1st. And we know that if we add 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a week, we can find out this Wednesday's date, which is the 8th. What if we add 7 more? What will next Wednesday be? If today's the 8th, you add 8 plus 7, what will next Wednesday be? So here's the 8th. Put that on today. And this is the beginning of Passover. We're going to read a book about that today. It's called Hooray, It's Passover. So this is going to be the beginning of Passover, which will end next week on the 16th, I believe. And Passover is a Jewish holiday that is celebrating the Israelites being freed from slavery in Egypt. So we're going to learn today a little bit more about what Passover is and why it's celebrated. But let's go ahead and write the date on the board real quick before we read our book. I'll turn it around just a little bit so you can see. Perfect. Today, maybe we'll write it in cursive today. Let's see. Let's write it in cursive. So for you guys that are practicing your cursive, you can go ahead and do that. April 8th, 2020. Okay. So now let's read our book called Hooray, It's Passover. It's Passover. My relatives come from far and near to share our Seder dinner. First, we will hear of the days when Jews were slaves in the land of Egypt. We will taste the special Passover foods. Crunchy matzah is my favorite. I pass out the Haggadah. And I'm so sorry if I mispronounce some of these words. forgive me on that too. I'm going to do my best, but I hope I don't mispronounce anything in here. If I do, let me know. My mother lights the holiday candles. My father blesses the wine. We leave a glass of wine and an empty chair for Elijah. Do we know anyone named Elijah? We do. Look at them all sitting down for their meal. It's a big family, isn't it? We all dip parsley in salt water. My little brother asks the special Passover questions. Why is the night different from all other nights? He begins. My grandpa tells the story of the cruel Pharaoh and a brave Moses who led the Jews to freedom. So this is taking place in Egypt. Here he's telling the story. You see the little kind of thought bubble that's coming out of his mouth here. So this is the story that he's telling. My cousins sing, I'm going to mispronounce this, Dayenu, a happy Passover song. And even the cat's singing. We wash our hands right at the table. Then my father says the prayer over the matzah. My uncles eat bitter herbs on their matzah. My aunt likes sweet haricot better. Haricot. It's time for dinner. My grandmothers serve chicken soup and matzo balls. Our cats sniff the gefilte fish. Oh, look at the cats. Now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cats that have come running. Smell the fish. After dinner, the children hunt for the afikomen, a piece of matzah that has been wrapped in a napkin and hidden. I wonder where it will be. Could it be under the sofa, on top of the piano? Whoever finds it will get a special treat. So they're playing a game where they're looking for something that's hidden. And that kind of reminds me of also like hiding Easter eggs and looking for those. So it's kind of a similar game that the kids are playing where they're looking for something hidden, and if they find it, they get a special prize. I found it! Hooray! Happy, happy Passover. Oh my goodness, this little girl found it. She had to crawl all the way underneath the rug to find it. Okay. Now, here in the back, all right, it tells us the story of Passover. Every spring for 8 days, Jewish people all over the world celebrate Passover. On the first 2 nights, family and friends gather for a holiday dinner called a Seder. They read from the Passover prayer book, Haggadah, praying and singing and telling the story of when Jews were slaves in the land of Egypt. Over 3,000 years ago, a cruel Pharaoh ruled over Egypt. He made all Jews slaves and ordered that every firstborn Jewish boy be killed. One mother saved her baby by floating him down the river in a basket. The basket was found by the Pharaoh's daughter, who named the boy Moses and raised him as an Egyptian prince. When Moses grew up, he saw how harshly the Jews were treated. Then God spoke to him, saying, "With my help, you will lead the Jewish people to freedom. You must go to the Pharaoh and say, 'Let my people go.'" Moses did this, but the Pharaoh would not listen. So God punished the Egyptians with 10 plagues. The last was the worst. God caused the oldest child of every Egyptian family to die, but passed over the houses where the Jewish families lived. When his own son died, the Pharaoh finally freed the slaves. The Jews followed Moses out of Egypt quickly, for they knew the Pharaoh could change his mind. They did not even wait for their bread to rise. That is why crunchy, flat bread called matzah is eaten during Passover. Many Seder foods celebrate the escape from Egypt. Parsley stands for springtime, salt water for the tears cried by the slaves. Bitter herbs are a reminder of the bitterness of slavery. And Haraset, a mixture of nuts, apples, and wine, stands for the mortar used to build the Pharaoh's cities. Looking for the afikomen, dessert in Greek, that's what the word means, dessert, is another tradition. Finally, at the Seder's end, a door is opened for the prophet Elijah, who Jews believe will come to announce a time of peace and happiness in the world. There is always a cup of wine for Elijah at the table. Most of all, the Seder reminds us of the importance of freedom. The Jews hope that someday everyone in the world will be free. So that is our book today and our lesson on Passover. I hope you guys enjoyed the other lessons that we have for today, and I will talk to you in a little bit for our FaceTime chats. Okay, bye.